Well, hello there and welcome to issue number 136, and this issue is all about the Libra rabbits. And as you can see on the caption prior to the video, those are all the dates you have to be in this Western and astrological combination. Any comments, any feedback, just message me or put comments under my video. All feedback's very welcome, and I'll get started straight away with the Libran rabbits as a child. Now, with the Libran, we talk about that perfect poise, that balance. The scales very rarely get toppled. It's only when they're under pressure to make decisions. Well, when the rabbit's in the mix, so we put the rabbit in there, year of the rabbit, they're a lot quicker with decision making. It makes them very, very snappy on that side of it. So it alleviates sometimes the Libran when they get a bit edgy, and it's very, very occasional with the Libran, is when they're put under pressure to make, right, I want to know now what we do. You know, that they need to make a balanced, a real balanced judgment. Librans hate to feel the guilt of, oh, I rushed into that judgment and I've really done that person a disservice, or I've given them a lot more respect than they deserve. Whatever the judgment be, if they feel as though it was a rush judgment, then they might feel as though there's a chance of injustice. But with the rabbit in the mix, they're a lot sharper in that sense. They make a real quick decision, and the Libra, as I say, is very good for the Libran because they don't feel as though they're spending half their time weighing stuff up, which, okay, they need to do, but it takes a lot of time away like that. Is quite time saving for them, because they will mull over a problem, and you'll see the Libran as a child really going into thoughtful phases very often. It is an intellectual sign, and they can be preoccupied with balancing stuff up, their schedule, but the rabbit, as I say, helps out massively here for this Libran. So if we look at the men, what gets taken away ever so slightly from the Libran, who is very charming, has beautiful poise, and is, as I say, a calming influence for everyone around them. Everyone, feels the serenity. But with the rabbit Libran, they're a lot shyer. There is the serenity that surrounds them, but they could be overlooked a little, in the sense of they're shy. They will, if they can, be in their shell just to avoid the hustle and bustle, and to avoid confrontations. Sometimes what goes on at school, it's a bustling place, it's very vibrant, there's lots of people in the mix. They would rather go under the radar, which it can be a little bit counterproductive for the Libran. I love to see the Librans at the forefront and leading, because they hold court very well. They always listen to people. As much as they talk, they listen very well. The rabbits tends to be, yes, they're a little bit of a talker, but only with close friends. This would be a shy rabbit on the whole. They will tend to like to check back, go under the radar if possible. I want to see them doing a lot more scholarly work, because I say it's an intelligence sign, but sometimes they drop out of school. When we get into college years, maybe they weren't unearthed by a sensitive enough teacher. It's down the teacher's responsibility here, and as the parents will realise, you've got a sensitive combination here. So rather than letting them go by the wayside because they may not have been in tune with the teachers at the right time, I know they're only doing their job and they're trying to teach as a whole, but if you let one of the shy ones go under the radar, they don't fulfil their potential, then there can be sort of a remorseful sort of feeling about the Libra rabbit, where they think, you know what, I could have done better if I was just spotted, or if it was just noticed, because it's a very creative, artistic sign. They are very adept at creating things of beauty, sculpting, carpentry, joinery. They're very good at this fantastic the finished article, where they're given a lot of time. I prefer, they prefer to work on their own, and they might leave you know, the school and not going to the colleges, say, right, I know I'll start up on my own, because they do like that serenity, you know, peacefulness, working on their own, not necessarily in an environment when it's bustling and hustling and very loud. You know, as I say, I couldn't see them on the stock exchange or building work to the sense of where it's all going crazy on the site and everything. You know, that wouldn't appeal to them. They do need that tranquility, very much so, and they will want to get there as quickly as possible. So it's very possible that if the teacher hasn't spotted this, you know, hidden gem really, you know, because they haven't delved enough and sort of said, you know, I spotted a bit of them. They approach them sensitively, and the Libra rabbit knows this. They'd rather come up if someone's a bit, you know, yelly or a bit sort of overzealous with them, or say, come on, I want to see you do. You know, they'd rather shut off. They'd rather sort of check back, and they won't respond to that. So they like to respond to themselves. They've got a very good routine. They're capable of keeping a good discipline with their work, so they can work on their own. You know, they won't need any body pushing them. They're very capable of doing it themselves, but I say they tend to like to do it on their own. So anything in that sort of ilk of sculpting, any creativeness, and as I say, they've got a natural flair with wood. So anything there, I think they're going to be wonderful at. And so they'd be great having their own website. These are my designs. They get ordered online, that sort of way where, you know, it's done, it'll be delivered, but there's not the, you know, that pressure of on the spot in front of all the loud machinery, etc. like that, because it's not a nice environment for them. They do suffer when it's like that, and they get a bit edgy, they get a bit like grumpy, and it's not nice when the Libra gets grumpy at all, or the rabbit, because they're a gentle, serene sign. They like, you know, a soft way of life, and that's just the way they are. They don't like to be involved in any confrontation of any sort, or you know, any sort of the nasty sort of side of life that one can encounter when it's very vibrant. They don't want to be involved in that. It repulses them, and so they will be keeping as far away from that as possible. If we look at when they want to start a relationship, or when they're going to, so I can see them in employment, quite, you know, young, the relationship really could generally come along at any time. You know, they would respond to getting in a relationship 18, 19 and carrying it all the way through, absolutely, because they will need to attract the gentler signs. So, you know, that's what we've got to make sure we marry them up with, or, you know, because sometimes they can get pulled along with the emotion of somebody else and forced into stuff by the emotion of somebody else, like they've taken a liking to them, and they just get pulled along in the way, and they're not going to necessarily be, you know, the correct match. Absolutely not. But the Libra rabbit, I think, well, they get bowled along a bit, and as I say, it's something which, you know, they're not going to stand there and confront and say, well, I don't want to. They don't like messy things like that. They might just get pulled along, and as I say, go along for the sake of it, which can be very, very devastating for them. They don't take splits or anything like that very well, so they could stay in a relationship which is inevitably not very good for them, but they will stay and stick it out, because rather than confront it, and rather than sort of say, right, I'm not happy, I want out, they just go in on themselves. You know, they become a bit of a non-entity in that sense. So we want them meeting the right, you know, the right person. They're going to be a sensitive soul as well, and, you know, quite a secretive and a shy sort themselves, and ultimately, you know, there's a lot of privacy that's needed. You know, they want the other person to respect their privacy, and they will theirs. They like, they're not one for going out with groups of people with their partner. You know, they like their own, you know, they might like just dinner or nights in. They're not ones to, you know, want that limelight. So we have to look at the best matches, and the best matches for the Libra rabbit. Well, let's look at the goats, because the goats, again, love beauty. They love the serenity. They really appreciate, they can, you know, hole up at home with each other for days on end, loving each other's company, creating beautiful things, because again, we've got the goat is very skillful, so it could be a great work partnership as well, where, you know, the goat is a little bit more erratic in its times, maybe, but the rabbit loves that. They have their security, and the goat can just flux around them. That's a brilliant match, because they both appreciate each other's sensitivity. They will be very respectful. They won't be shouting each other down. They won't, you know, go into these conflicts, which neither of them like. So you're going to have a gentle and a great environment for children to grow up in as well. So when they decide to be parents, and they can decide to be parents quite young, these two, there's not the conflict in front of them children, so they make great parents like that, and very secure, a secure nest. So let's look for the goats under the signs of Sagittarius, Aquarius, Gemini and Leo. Those are the best of the goat family. And we also have to look for the pigs. The pigs, okay, tough at nature, the little, but so sensitive, very passionate, very dedicated. The rabbit will be in no doubt that they're loved, and they will feel great warmth and great strength with that, you know. And the pig's very good at installing a bit of confidence into the rabbit, because, as we said, you know, the pig will stand their ground, you know. They won't shy away from a conflict. If it's put on their lap, they will give as good as they get. Whereas they give that bit of confidence to the rabbit, say, come on, you know, we'll stand together. And it brings the rabbit out of their shell a little bit, very nicely. And they're not so shy, and they're not so eager to sit back. So the pig's a fantastic match for the rabbit. It really does great things for each other. And the pig will really appreciate the tenderness and the secretiveness of the rabbit, and that sort of gentle approach to life, where, you know, they're not looking to do anybody any harm. And the pig really likes that, because, as I say, they are one-on-one basis sort of customer. They like that intensity, they love that intensity. And also, again, brilliant matches together for children. It's a great environment for children to have the pig and the rabbit parent, and they're wonderful. Okay, so if we look at the ones, the best in the pig family, we've got to look at the Sagittarian, the Aquarian, the Gemini and the Leo. They are the top of that family. The ones to avoid, or absolutely no doubt about this, is the roosters, and especially for the Libran rabbit, who's very sensitive and very for this not aggressive rooster. The rest of the rooster is forthright. They're very frank, they're very blunt, they say things that will really hurt the rabbit, and then the rabbit will get hurt, and they will get spiteful, and then they will get really down. And it's sad to see, because these are conflict, they're just a fight waiting to happen. I don't want to see these two try and get together, because there's only damage going to be caused. So please avoid that relationship. Even if the rooster comes along and buoyantly tries to cluck you along, saying, oh, you know, just don't go there, don't get involved. Okay, well, thank you for joining me for this issue. And as we say about a health matter with the Libra rabbit, normally the great balance of the Libra, as we said, has a good diet, has a good exercise regime as well. But we also, you know, we've got to be sensitive to climates, weather. Rabbits get cold quite quickly, so, you know, make sure they're wrapped up, because they're prone to sort of having circulatory trouble, especially the feet. So we have to be careful there, and, you know, just keep wrapped up, because they're a sensitive soul and they feel it body clock wise as well. Well, thank you for joining me for this issue, and please tune in for the next one. Thank you.